Those last, I don't know, when I came back from my neck injury, those last 10 games or so, it really kind of, lit the fire under me again. I felt like I played well and was just playing free, which was great. And so my head's all good. That was obviously a worry when I got hit in the face, like, oh geez, I got another concussion, and like, it's just kind of crazy. Like, you don't know how many is enough, but my head's all good, and it was just the cheekbone, and it's obviously, as you can see, healing up pretty nicely. So I'm doing okay. Appreciate you asking.
Hey, Kyle, glad to see the shiner is gone there. Just when you look at this team moving forward, you guys as a group, whoever's on the team next year, all the coaching changes, that has to have made it difficult over the years to just develop some consistency. Moving forward, I mean, what do you guys need to do to move forward and be able to have some success and to not have more change? Because that has to be the thing that sort of stalls progress. You guys are doing well under Ralph, and then things kind of fall apart, and then their coaching change, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's everything is fixed from winning, essentially, and we haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. So we just need to. I mean, we need to win hockey games. That's basically the end of it. I mean, and whoever is coaching us next year is going to be the coach, and we as players have to play. And who's ever here has to find a way to elevate their game. And I mean, it's not a secret. Like, we know that that everybody needs to be better. And I mean, this is my 5th year here, and we haven't made the playoffs at all. And so there's going to be turmoil. There's going to be change. There's going to be turnover. And, everybody at the end of the day looks at the product on the ice, and that needs to be better.
Hi, Kyle. If I had formulated a Sabres bingo card before the year, COVID outbreak might have been on it. I'm not sure coaching change would have been, given where you guys felt about Ralph. As you look now at both halves of the season, what in the world happened with Ralph Krueger? But conversely, what did you guys find under Don Granado that just wasn't there before?
Well, the COVID outbreak was difficult. We were going along okay. I think we were 500 at the time when the COVID outbreak happened, and that was not easy coming back from that for anybody. I mean, obviously, it's been well documented about Risto and a couple other guys that struggled with it, and we struggled to find our footing when we came back. And once everything started snowballing, and the pressure started mounting, and the losing streak happened, it was just one thing after the next. And Ralph Krueger is one of my favorite people I've ever met in my life. Like, Ralph is a phenomenal human being, but there was just so many things going on that were out of everybody's control, and it unfortunately led to him getting fired. And Donnie came in, and Donnie obviously has a different wanted us to play a little bit differently, and I think that as a group, we had a ton of young guys who really fed off that, and who started to gain a lot more confidence, and we started to play a pretty good brand of hockey, I thought, towards the end. And so, I commend Donnie a lot for the job that he did, and he was fantastic when he took over. He came in one of the toughest situations that I've seen in 14 years of pro hockey, and he came in and he did a heck of a job.
Morning, Kyle. I know you mentioned a lot of those young guys were getting confidence under, Don Granato, and there are a lot of players where you look at their numbers sort of pre-Granato and during Granato, and it's like two completely different seasons. And you were one of those guys as well. I mean, just your last 10 or 15 games, the production was there that maybe we didn't see a little earlier in the season. How did you feel about sort of your game? Do you feel like you progressed throughout the season, or I guess how do you explain sort of maybe not your resurgence, but just how you were able to produce just differently with Don Granato as the interim coach?
I think like I kind of said before, when I got back from my neck injury, I just tried to play free and just have fun. And I was able to do that and was able to just get back to it. It just felt like we were playing hockey, like playing good hockey. Like everybody's making 5-10 foot plays, everybody's supporting each other, and when you do that, when you make a little 10-foot pass on somebody's tape, you feel good. And that snowballed, and it was like, okay, 10-foot pass here, 10-foot pass there, and then all of a sudden everybody's got confidence, and then all of a sudden that leads to more offensive chances. Like it was a culmination of doing a lot of little things well, for myself and the team, I think, down the stretch.
Kyle, John Morrow, it's good to see it's good to see that you're up and about.
Thanks, John.
The one big blow, aside from COVID and the other things that happened, was Jack. Jack not being really healthy throughout this whole season. How much of a blow was that for this team, and how much, how much did you want to see Jack play in this, Granato system, and what this team might have been like with Jack playing, closing out the stretch?
Yeah, it's obviously you never want to see somebody get hurt, and he's captain of our team, and he's obviously a phenomenal player, and the fact that he was hurt for most of the year was difficult. I mean, it's hard when your best players get hurt. I mean, it's going to leave a big void, a big hole, and obviously it would have been great to have him, but it allowed Casey Mittelstadt to move to center. It allowed Dylan Cousins to play center. I mean, it allowed for some things to happen and some growth for these younger guys that probably wouldn't have happened if Jack would have been hurt. And, so I don't think you can kind of deal with the hypotheticals. I just think you have to look at what happened and take those positive strides from the young guys out of that, and know that Jack's going to come back healthy and rearing and ready to go. I know after the season.
Hey there. As you've mentioned before, you played almost half the schedule against legitimate Stanley Cup contenders. Looking back, how big or small is the gap between you guys and the contenders, and how do you close it?
Question. You know what? I think if you would have said before the season that the Flyers, the Capitals, the Rangers, or the Flyers, the Capitals, the Islanders, the Bruins, or the Penguins were going to win a Stanley Cup, nobody would have batted an eyelash. So to play against kind of those 5 teams, I know Philly fell off and didn't play as well this year, but it was challenging, definitely, to play against those teams, those mature teams. They are mature hockey teams, and they do things the same way every night. And if you're not on your game, they're going to beat you. So that was definitely difficult. But I don't think the gap is really that large. I think we're a long way from being a mature team, but the way that we played down the stretch and the cohesiveness that we had, I think would minimize that gap and allow us to close it quicker and become a more mature team quicker than we would have if we didn't have that cohesiveness. So got a lot of young guys who have a lot of maturing to do, but I thought that the end of the year showed us that we have some great bones to our team.
Hi, Kyle. Just as far as Linus goes, what can you hear me okay?
You kind of broke up a little bit.
As far as Linus goes, what steps have you seen him take maybe in the last 2 seasons that's made him become, a number one goalie, your backbone, MVP type player?
He's been phenomenal. I mean, he's a number one goalie. Like that's, I don't know what else to say about it. He's a legitimate number one goalie, and he is very good. Like he has really elevated his game in the last couple of years, and you saw how we played every time that he was in net. It was just there was a calmness about our team, knowing that he was back there, knowing that he was going to bail us out a few times for sure because he has that ability. And you just know going down in practice against him, like it's not easy to score on him. Like he's just good. So he took a lot of steps this year, and definitely hoping that he's going to be putting on a Sabres sweater next year.
Hey, Kyle, what do you see for Casey Mittelstadt going forward, given some of the things you saw from him over the past couple months?
I think Mitzi really he might be the guy that I thought took the most strides this year. And I was very proud of him for that. And he, he started the year and he was on the taxi squad, but I knew that he had put the work in and he was continuing to put the work in, and it paid off. And just the confidence that he was playing with at the end of the year was just awesome to see. And, he's only going to keep getting better. And I know that drive and that hunger is going to be there, this summer to get better, and he's going to come back and be a good player for us.
Kyle, Casey has told us numerous times, including fairly recently, what a mentor you have been to him. You're both from Minnesota. And he said from the day he walked in the door, that's been the case. Was that something that was easy for you to do with him? And it has to make you feel good that he feels that way, that you have helped him so much.
Yeah, it definitely feels good. I mean, it's at the stage in my career where, I want to, whenever the time comes, I'd like to leave the game, better than I found it. And I think that that's a big part of my job as a veteran guy, is to teach these young guys the right way to do things. And with Mitzi, being from Minnesota, it was easy. It's easy with him, and he's just a good guy. He's a good kid, and he's learning. He's maturing, and I'm happy that he looks at me as somebody, as a mentor, and just gonna continue to have a relationship with him and help him grow.
Kyle, I know we've talked before, you're a bit of a hockey nerd, and one of the big topics coming up in this offseason is going to be the Kraken and how they impact things and how they build like Vegas built. You've got obviously a modified clause in your contract. If they came to you and said, we want to protect another younger guy and leave you out there, would you roll the dice on that, or have you even thought about that much? Where would you stand in that if that was something that was brought up?
I don't think that I have a clause. I don't know. I'd have to check on that. I think you need a no movement clause in order for them to ask you to waive, correct?
Well, you have modified no movement clause. You don't have a full one.
Yeah, I got a partial no trade.
Right.
So, but anyway, I'll look into that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason with the expansion draft, and whatever happens, I'm sure that I'll have conversations with Kevin about it. And, it's going to be something that in some instances is going to be out of my control, and it just is what it is. So I'm just hoping that I'm in a Sabres uniform next year and trying to help this team climb out of the drought for sure.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks.